When you think of Madonna, you think of power. You think of the Queen of Pop, a woman who has dominated global charts, reinvented herself across decades, and built an empire on boldness, confidence, and fearlessness. She's the artist who pushed boundaries, defied the rules of music, fashion, and religion, and never once apologized for it. But even icons aren't invincible. And behind the glitter, the music videos, and the platinum-selling albums, Madonna lived through something that shook her to her core, a terrifying encounter with a fan who wasn't simply adoring, but dangerous. This is the chilling true story of Madonna's scariest brush with a stalker, the man who shattered her sense of safety, and the unsettling reality that even the most powerful celebrities live under the shadow of obsession. Madonna rose to fame in the 1980s, a decade when celebrity culture was exploding. MTV had just arrived. Music videos turned pop stars into global icons, and tabloids devoured every detail of their lives. Madonna was at the center of it all. With songs like a Virgin, Material Girl, and Papa Don't Preach, she became more than a singer. She was a cultural force, a lightning rod for controversy, and an artist who inspired both worship and outrage. But with fame of that magnitude came something darker. Devotion can easily turn to obsession. For every fan who bought her records and screamed at her concerts, there were others who became consumed by her image, convinced that she belonged to them. And for Madonna, this danger became horrifyingly real in the early 1990s, when a man named Robert Dewey Hoskins entered her life. Robert Hoskins was no ordinary fan. By the early 1990s, he had developed an unhealthy obsession with Madonna. He believed he was destined to be with her, and when she rejected this delusion, as of course she would, his obsession turned violent. Hoskins began stalking Madonna relentlessly. He left messages. He threatened her. And most disturbingly, he made it clear that he planned to kill her if she didn't comply with his fantasy. In Madonna's own words, Hoskins was the most frightening man I ever knew. It wasn't just words. Hoskins physically invaded her space, breaking into her Los Angeles property multiple times. On one occasion, he scaled the walls of her Hollywood Hills home. On another, he was spotted trespassing near her pool. And each time, he grew bolder, more dangerous, more determined. Madonna later revealed that Hoskins' obsession left her unable to sleep, constantly afraid that one day she would come home to find him waiting for her. Things escalated in May 1995. Hoskins approached Madonna's Hollywood Hills estate yet again. This time, it turned violent. When confronted by Madonna's security, Hoskins attacked, threatening to slit Madonna's throat from ear to ear. The confrontation turned into a brutal altercation, one that ended only when police arrived and subdued him. For Madonna, the incident was a living nightmare. She wasn't there during the attack, but the knowledge that someone had been so close, someone who explicitly wanted to kill her, was unbearable. Later, she would testify against Hoskins in court, describing him as a man who terrorized her, a man whose presence haunted her even when he was behind bars. Hoskins was charged with stalking, terroristic threats, and assault. During the trial, Madonna gave chilling testimony. Dressed somberly, without her usual pop star armor, she described the fear he had instilled in her. He told the guards that he was going to cut my throat from ear to ear, Madonna testified. I have suffered extreme fear. I feel like I will never be safe again. Her words painted a portrait not of a global superstar, but of a woman stripped of her safety and her sense of control. For once, Madonna, the woman who had always been larger than life, was forced to admit vulnerability. The jury found Hoskins guilty. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison, with an additional psychiatric commitment after his release. You might think that a conviction would bring closure. But for Madonna, the fear lingered long after Hoskins was locked away. Stalkers have a way of haunting their victims psychologically. Madonna admitted she continued to look over her shoulder, worried about the day he would be released. That's the disturbing reality of celebrity stalker cases. Prison terms end. Parole hearings come up. And victims are forced to relive the trauma, knowing their stalker could resurface at any time. In fact, Hoskins' mental health issues made him even more unpredictable. He reportedly told officials that he believed Madonna was his wife, and his violent delusions made him a constant danger. At one point, psychiatric evaluations suggested that without strict supervision, he would almost certainly attempt to pursue Madonna again. Madonna's encounter with Hoskins wasn't an isolated case. Many celebrities have endured similar ordeals. Actress Rebecca Schaeffer, star of the sitcom My Sister Sam, was murdered in 1989 by an obsessed fan who tracked her down through DMV records. That tragedy led to California passing the first anti-stalking laws in the United States. Sandra Bullock endured a terrifying home invasion by a stalker in 2014. Selena Gomez has faced multiple stalkers, one of whom was arrested outside her home carrying a knife. Taylor Swift has spoken openly about stalkers breaking into her residences. These cases highlight the terrifying downside of fame. Celebrities live public lives, their faces and homes plastered across magazines and websites. For most fans, that access is harmless. For a disturbed few, it becomes an invitation to invade, to control, and even to harm. Madonna's story is one of the earliest and most high-profile examples of just how dangerous that obsession can become. What makes Madonna's story compelling is not just the terror she endured, but the way she responded. In court, she faced Hoskins head-on, refusing to stay silent. She used her platform to draw attention to the danger of stalkers and the need for stronger laws. Behind the scenes, she increased her security, living with constant precautions. Friends and colleagues noted that she became more guarded, more private. The woman who once flaunted her life in music videos and interviews learned the importance of walls, physical and emotional. And yet, Madonna remained Madonna. She didn't let fear stop her from performing, from touring, from reinventing herself time and time again. In the years after Hoskins' trial, she released some of her most iconic albums, including Ray of Light and Music, proving that while stalkers could threaten her safety, they couldn't break her spirit. When Madonna's story became public, fans were horrified. For many, the idea that the world's most powerful pop star could be vulnerable to such terror was shocking. It reminded people that fame doesn't shield celebrities from danger, it often amplifies it. Some fans praised Madonna for her courage in testifying. Others expressed outrage that her stalker could one day be released. And even years later, her ordeal remains a chilling reminder of the risks that come with celebrity. Today, Madonna's encounter with Robert Hoskins stands as one of the most infamous celebrity stalker cases in history. It exposed how dangerous unchecked obsession can become. It helped push conversations about stalking laws and celebrity safety. And it left a permanent mark on Madonna's life, shaping how she viewed fame and personal security. But beyond the legal battles and the prison sentences, this story reveals something deeply human. Madonna may be the queen of pop, a global icon who has sold over 300 million records and changed the face of music. But in that courtroom, testifying against the man who threatened to slit her throat, she was simply a woman demanding the right to live free of fear. Madonna's scariest encounter with a dangerous fan is more than a celebrity horror story. It's a reminder of how obsession can twist into violence, how fame can strip away safety, and how even the most powerful figures in the world are vulnerable when someone decides to cross the line. For Madonna, the ordeal was a nightmare, but it also proved something about her resilience. She faced terror, she faced obsession, and she refused to let it define her. She went back to the stage, back to the spotlight, and continued to reign as one of the most iconic performers in history. In the end, her story isn't just about fear. It's about survival. It's about how the queen of pop refused to be silenced, even when danger knocked on her door.